Hi guys, so this is a set of KOE switch pods which has been removed from the car. The reason it's been removed is because while at one of the shows recently in displays, some of these buttons were actually snapped off and damaged, and we tried to repair them in sight, and this one doesn't even press down because we used a little bit of glue on them, and the switches themselves overall became damaged. So I'll zoom in a little bit more, you can see where the glue's got on there. It's really made a mess of those. So plan of attack for today, I'll move that from there, as we've turned this over, I'm going to desolder all of the switches from the back, as you can see there, and we're going to be fitting some new switches. So we have to desolder them because they're connected to the circuit board via the wire links that you see here to the side, and they're connected to the standoff, as you can see there, with the nuts in the top, and they're an interference fit through the hole in the circuit board to set the height. So job of the day, desolder all of these, and then when we've desoldered them, remove the switch block from the switch pods themselves, and then go ahead and change all of those switches for new ones. So I'll go ahead now and desolder those, and I'll show you the next step. As you can see here, we've desoldered the wire links to each of the switches on each side. Show you that. Some of these wire links here, some of them have actually desoldered from the board, so they'll need to be replaced when we put the switches in. But all that I need to do now is actually push on the back of these switches from the center very gently outwards, and that will release all of the switches from the switch pods. So I'll go ahead now and do that. So I've gone ahead and just gently pressed those back through the holes. If I turn it over now, I should be able to just wiggle this. Might need two hands, but I'll certainly give it a go. Wiggling this. There we go. That's just released away from the switch pods themselves. Now, you will notice on this particular set of switch pods, we've got some wire links here. And we do have, apologise for the video there, getting caught on the yellow cloth, the sharp bits. So you can see on the back we've got a wire link there as well. Now the reason we have wire links on these, and these holes in the center also, these ones here are elongated, is because this particular set of switch pods were built as a demonstration prototype, and while they did work, there were a few issues with them, which is why we needed the wire links, and the spacing for the holes there in the center were not correct. So the production version of this, all that has been corrected, and the wire links are not there, and the holes are actually in the correct place. But we didn't see any reason not to use these on the car that we have. Again, the cloth just getting caught there on the back of that. So now we've got those removed, I'll put those out of the way. We can see the switch block itself here. Now it's quite simple to remove these, but we start at one end and work our way down. You can't actually just undo the nut in the center because they're so tight against each other with the way the spacing is, that unfortunately the nuts can't be turned in the center there. So you start at one end, undo them, and then replace them one at a time. So I'll go ahead now and change all of these switches for the new replacement ones, and then we'll get to refitting these back to the switch pods. And here is that switch block with all of the switches removed. It does appear to have a slight curve in it, but that's just how it's formed when it's screwed down tight against the switch pods. So the damaged switches themselves, these ones, you can't actually press because the glue's got in there, and this one, the end's actually gone all together. So rather than replace just a few, because some of them are okay, as you can see here, we're going to replace them all so we get the same switches with the same depth for all of them. So I'll go ahead and get the new switches now and show you what they look like. Okay, so just showing you the old switch, you can see that we can't press it, but you can also see it's a solid black end there. Looking at the new switches that we're replacing them with, a slightly different design. They've got the chrome at the back there as well, and the depth of this piece the shoulder at the bottom is slightly narrower than the shoulder on the old switches, although the overall depth, if you put them next to each other, is the same. So they will actually fit quite nicely in place of the old switches. So it doesn't really matter when you buy these switches, if you choose to replace them yourself, what you get, as long as the diameter of the hole needed for the threads are same, and they are push to make switches, and yeah, should be fine. So let's go ahead now and get those fitted. And with that done, we can see that they all line up nicely with the same height. If I turn the switch block over, you'll see I've lined them up at the back as well, so that all of the pins are facing the right way for those wire links. So what I need to do now is get the switch pod itself, the electronics, and just gently press this back through so that these black bits are interference fit in the holes in the switch pod itself, which again I'll show you here. And then we can go ahead and resolder all of those wire links back on, and then we should have a working set of switch pods. And there you go, we've slotted those back in nicely, all at the same height, nice and level down the middle, and all, place them back down there, my hand's shaking a little bit, all soldered back on nice and neatly. I say neatly, Neil is the electronics guy. It's probably 10 years since I last picked a soldering iron up, but it ain't looking too bad, and I'm sure that'll work just nicely. So all I need to do now is take these back to the car, fit them back into the switch pods themselves. The wires go through this zip tie, plug into here, and then we tie that zip tie together to secure the wires for some stress relief, so there's no way of any wires being pulled out. And just for anyone wondering, this port here is for programming, so if we need to reprogram the micro on here, we can do. We have the 5-volt regulator here. I believe it's a 5-volt on this, a 7805. Zoom in, you might be able to see. If not, it'll be a 7808, 8-volt, but I think it's a 5-volt regulator. We have the onboard speaker as well, and on the opposite side we have where all the intelligence is, the micro itself there. Okay, and then we have a crystal there, I believe, as well, which is required for the micro, and a few other various components as you look around, some diodes and resistors. Very intelligent board, I have to say. Kudos to Mr. Neil Breakwell for the design of this particular switch pod. Okay guys, so that's it, that's the switch pods repaired. Hope you enjoyed watching this brief video on how to repair a switch if they do get damaged in your switch pods purchased from KOE. Thanks for watching. I've been Steve, this has been Knights of England, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-da for now.